let me consolidate our understanding that we have developed, we have tried to develop so far. We have seen that the goal of Tantra is to expand our consciousness and free us from the state of a limited existence into an elevated state of unlimited existence. We have also seen that we are really not this body or mind, but we are consciousness, ourselves, holding onto a body and mind. It is just that we lead a mistaken life, thinking that we are this body and mind. We have seen that the degree of expansion of consciousness already achieved by different people are at different degrees. People are not at all at a uniform level of consciousness. Therefore, Tantra has traditionally offered a wide range of lifestyle practices for the people to choose the most appropriate practice suitable for their respective level of consciousness. From the archaeological pieces of evidence, we know that Tantra is from a period that is at least 5,500 years ago, when there were no organized religions, but there were only broadly practiced ways of life. All organized religions of today are at best 2,600 years old. The goal and purpose of all religions are also the expansion of consciousness. That was originally at the core of all religious practices of all religions. However, the religions have not introduced the subtle concept of consciousness to their followers. Instead, they introduced the topic generally as God. 2,600 years ago, such subtle topics as consciousness were beyond the capacity of most people to comprehend. Even now, it needs some commitment and sincere efforts for people to grasp it. Disillusioned with the constantly altering experiences of happiness and sorrow in their life, the great sages of ancient India had set out to find out the ultimate truth of life. They realized that this temporary and constantly changing existence in this world cannot be the ultimate truth. They first defined what the ultimate truth is. They said, if anything in this world is to be accepted as the ultimate truth, it must satisfy three conditions. Condition one, it should be non-dual, meaning its birth, existence, or its destruction must not be caused or limited or conditioned by a second thing whatsoever. It should be eternal. Condition two, it should be all pervading. It should be present everywhere and in everything, unrestricted. Condition three, it should be absolutely changeless. They gave a name to such an ultimate truth. It is Parabrahman. Tantra called this ultimate truth as Parasamrit. Ancient Indian epics and Puranas call the same ultimate truth by different names such as Parameshwaran, Paramashivan, Mahavishnu, etc., etc. In order for them to visualize this ultimate truth as a human like themselves, with a name and a form. Only with a name and a form they could understand and visualize. Religions call this visualization as God, Yahweh, Allah, etc. In Kabbalion, the ancient the Greeks called it the All. Giving different names for the one and the same thing is like how the same man is called father by his children, son by his parents, brother by his siblings, nephew by his uncles and aunts, and so on and so forth. But he is the same one single person. Likewise, All these are merely different names for the same concept of the ultimate truth as differently understood. At the same time, what is referred to by all these names is one and the single ultimate truth. We have seen up to this point so far. Now then, now onwards I will use the neutral name the all for the ultimate truth. This is the name the text the Kabbalion used. If I use any of the more familiar names such as Brahman, Paramashivan, Allah, Yahuwah, God, etc., in order to refer to the ultimate truth, you will mistake me for talking about one religion or another. You will mistake me that I am trying to deliver some sort of religious material to you. I am not doing that. Our human mind does need a name and form to visualize anything. This is the limitation of the human mind. That is why Swamiji Vivekananda once said that if you ask a buffalo, hey buffalo, how would your God look like? Then he said the buffalo will most probably answer that my God is a much bigger buffalo than me, with much bigger horns and much bigger, darker and stronger body. We are so much preoccupied with our body consciousness, and we are limited by the content of our minds. Now then, let us see what is the nature of this all, the all, which is non-dual, all-pervading, unchanging, ultimate truth. The sages explained the all as infinite without beginning or end. They use the term Ananta in Sanskrit. Why is it infinite? Remember the first condition? If something has to be accepted as the ultimate truth, its existence should not be caused by a second thing, and it should be indestructible and shall not be caused or limited by a second factor. That means the all should be infinitely existing and eternally in existence. So it is Ananta, the infinite. Then they said that the all is formless without a shape or a body. They used the Sanskrit term Nirakara, which means without a shape. Why? If it has a shape, it is limited by that shape. Again, remember the first condition? It should not be limited by a second factor. So the all has to be formless. Then they said it should be without any of the three qualities. That means it should not be good, bad, or a mixture of both. It should be neutral in quality. To be good or to be bad or to be a mixture of both is a limitation imposed by these qualities. What have we learned earlier? Anything that is limited by a second thing cannot be the ultimate truth, right? Sages called it Nirguna in Sanskrit. The word means devoid of gunas or describable qualities. Then the sages said that the all is Nirvisesha, meaning it cannot be qualified by any expression. It should be adjectiveless. If it can be given an adjective, then it is a limitation by that adjective. So obviously, by inference, the all is beyond all attributes, all adjectives. The sages also said that the all is Adrista, meaning that it is invisible. If it is visible, it has a form, and it is a severe limitation too. So obviously, the all must be invisible without doubt. So to sum up, the all is Ananta, Nirakara, Nirguna, Nirvisesha, Adrista, meaning the all is infinite, eternal and indestructible, formless, devoid of any of the three qualities, adjectiveless and invisible. These are the 5 aspects of negation about the all. Negation means that which it is not. Now, there are 5 aspects of acceptations about the all that the sages spoke of. They coined a short word for those 5 aspects in Sanskrit. That word is Satchidananda. When this word is split, it becomes a combination of 3 terms: Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat means ever existing, Chit means ever knowing, and Ananda means ever renewed joy. The expression of ever knowing has deeper connotations. It is a special type of knowledge with 3 powers, namely the willpower, the complete knowledge power, and the creative power. In Sanskrit, these 3 aspects are referred as ischa, jnana, kriya. If you want to do anything at all, you must have these 3 abilities, these 3 powers. Your willpower to do that thing, your complete knowledge to do that thing, and finally your direct actions to materialize it. If any of these 3 are missing, you cannot do it. So, the all is ever existing and has the will, knowledge, and action capabilities, powers, and it is a bundle of ever renewed joy. However, ancient sages also described the nature of the all as unknowable. Well, then how did the sages know that the nature of the all consists of the earlier 10 aspects, namely Ananda, Nirakara, Nirguna, Nirvisesha, Adrista, Sat, ischa, jnaanam, kriya, and Ananda? How did they know about that? These are logically sound inferences they arrived at from the definition of the ultimate truth. The logic is very sound here. If something has to be accepted as the ultimate truth, it must satisfy 3 conditions. If something satisfies these 3 conditions, then it is the ultimate truth. And as a result of that, it must have these 10 aspects to itself. You may wonder, how would they infer on the last 4, namely ischa, jnaanam, kriya, and Ananda factors? The first 6 are self-contained in the definition of the ultimate truth itself. But how can ever knowing and ever renewed joy be part of the ultimate truth? How did they come to know about that? Firstly, we know from our everyday experience that even to build a house, we need to have knowledge to build a house. That knowledge has to pre-exist with us. We should have 1, the strong desire and willpower to build a house. 2, we should have the complete knowledge about designing and building a house. And then finally 3, we should undertake the physical actions to build it. And all these 3 should pre-exist even before a minor activity like the building of a house has to happen, right? Applying the same principle of correspondence we talked about earlier in one of the earlier sessions, we can infer that phenomenal level of intelligence in terms of ischa, jnaanam, kriya, or willpower, knowledge, and action needed to exist before the universe was created. This intelligence, therefore, must be with the all. Secondly, by virtue of the definition, the material components of creation, which includes you and I, can only be created from the stuff that the all is, because nothing else existed other than itself in the beginning. The all is consciousness, and therefore everything living or non-living is consciousness. Every living being wants to have eternal happiness, and every living being without exception wants to avoid pain and destruction. Therefore, perpetual joy must be an aspect of the all which every created beings inherited. Therefore, we crave for it. Why is it then the sages said that the all is unknown or unknowable? Please listen carefully here because the subject becomes a little bit tougher now. For knowing anything, we need a subject and an object. For example, if I say I know physics, I in that statement is the subject or the knower. Physics is the object or the known. Knowing is the relationship between the knower and the known. Knowing is the relationship between the knower and the known. The knower and the known have to be two different things. Then only a relationship is possible. For any relationship to exist, always, there has to be the subject-object connection. No relationship is possible for a subject without an object. The knower is always the I. And who or what is that I? We have already seen that I is the consciousness. I am not the body or the mind. I am consciousness, which is pure subjectivity. The knower in me is therefore consciousness, the same stuff as the all, the ultimate reality, which is also pure consciousness. When I am trying to understand the all, I am actually trying to build a subject relationship, which is not possible. Why? We have already seen that I am pure consciousness, which is pure subjectivity, the knower. A subject cannot know itself. It can only recognize it as itself. This recognition is self-knowledge. So let me repeat once again. The all is eternal, without a beginning or ending. The all is indestructible. The all is formless. The all is devoid of any of three qualities, namely good, bad, or both. The all is adjectiveless, and the all is invisible. The all is ever existing with the will, knowledge, action, powers, and with ever renewed joy. I know you need more proof to accept that you are that very same consciousness that the all is. I will give you more proof to show that you are indeed the consciousness and not the body. But all that in the next session. Thank you.